Good morning, guys, and welcome to Geneva, the second largest city in Switzerland and one of the richest places in the world. Now, I only have about 6.5 hours here because I am in transit, but that should give us some time to explore. So, let's go have a look around. So this is gonna be a very casual vlog and not a full city tour because I only have a few hours here and I want to focus on showcasing the vibes of this very pretty and rather fancy location. Now on this side of the lake we have lots of upscale hotels and also the train station, which is where I just came from. I arrived literally 20 minutes ago, got here by train from Basel, and a video of that journey is on the channel if you want to know what Swiss trains are like. And I put my backpack into the luggage locker inside the station, which is very convenient by the way. And now I have some time to explore before moving on later this evening. Anyhow, as we are walking on the shorelines of the stunning Lake Geneva, or Lac Léman in French, let's talk a bit about this city. Geneva, or Genève, is the second largest city in Switzerland behind Zurich and located in the French-speaking part of the country. As you might know, Switzerland has 4 official languages: German, French, Italian and Romansh, and Geneva is the most populous French-speaking city. It is situated right on the border with France, and a lot of the workforce here are actually French commuters who live on the other side of the border but work in Switzerland to take advantage of the higher wages. Now, what is Geneva famous for? Yes, watchmaking. The sheer number of world-renowned watchmakers that are headquartered in this city is simply astounding. Rolex, Patek Philippe, Breitling, Chopard and Omega, just to name a few. They are not all located in the city of Geneva, but the region is also nicknamed the Watch Valley. Apart from watches, Geneva is one of the world's top financial centers and a global powerhouse when it comes to banking and other financial services. So long story short, this place is wealthy. I am now on my way to the old town, which is on the other side of the lake, and you can take these ferry boats called Mouettes, which means seagull, and they cost 3 francs one way, but as the weather is so pleasant, I'm just gonna walk. And that brings me to the prices here in Geneva. As you might expect, this place is not cheap. I am only here for about 6 hours, so I don't need a hotel room, but I checked online and the budget rooms were between 100 and 150 CHF, and then you can get a dorm for 50 to 60 per night. I didn't really have time to sit down at a restaurant, and I also didn't want to spend a fortune, so I got some baked goods from the Coop supermarket, which was very reasonably priced. Most mid-range restaurants will charge at least 25 to 35 CHF for a meal, but you can obviously go much higher than that. So those are the prices you should expect if you travel to Switzerland. And the fact that the Swiss franc is so high at the moment doesn't exactly help either. Well, it does help Swiss people traveling abroad, but not foreigners coming to the country. But then it has to be said that Switzerland is supremely clean, safe and well organized. So you get something for your money.
there in the sky to stop you. I've been dancing around this field.
Now let's have a look at Geneva's most famous landmark, the Jet d'eau. The current fountain was built in 1951 and it jets 5,000 liters of water per second to an altitude of 150 meters. The water leaves the nozzle at around 200 kilometers an hour and there are 7,000 liters in the air at all times. The Jet d'eau has become Geneva's main symbol and it looks stunning from every direction. We are now on the other side of the lake, which is where you'll find Geneva's Old Town, home to some of the city's main historic attractions. First we are walking down Rue du Rhône, the main shopping avenue, which is brimming with luxury boutiques. Not far from here, you'll find the Place du Bourg-de-Four, which is the main square in the Old Town. It is quite small, but home to some lovely cafes, as well as 18th and 19th century buildings. Another landmark in the Old Town is Geneva City Hall. Construction began in 1405, but many parts were added throughout the centuries. Today, you can admire the building's courtyard and some original cannons which are displayed outside. I then went to have a look at St. Peter's Cathedral. It was founded as a Roman Catholic church in the 4th century, but became a Calvinist church and also the adopted home of John Calvin himself during the Protestant Reformation in 1535. Everything is freely accessible, and while the interior isn't all that ornate, St. Peter's Cathedral is undoubtedly worth a stop if you are in Geneva. We are now returning to the other side of the lake, and there is one more place that I want to check out, the Bain de Paquis. It is a public bathing site on Lake Geneva, which was established in the late 19th century. The current pools date from the 1930s and were built in the Bauhaus style. I visited in March, so it was way too cold to swim, but quite a few people were enjoying the early spring sunshine here. I still had about an hour before my next train, so I decided to get a beer on the shorelines of this incredibly scenic body of water. This is Portuguese beer, by the way, and it was the only one they had on tap. As the sky was clear, I could even admire Europe's highest mountain, Mont Blanc, from here. Lake Geneva, or Lac Léman, is shared between France and Switzerland, and it has a surface of 580 square kilometers with an average depth of 153 meters, but the deepest point is 310. And that is it from Geneva, Switzerland. Now you might be wondering whether this city is worth visiting. Well, kind of. It doesn't have that many tourist attractions, but it is a highly picturesque and pleasant location, and the lake is just gorgeous. But yeah, this is probably a better place to work and make money than to come as a visitor, but I didn't regret spending an afternoon here. Thanks very much for watching.